Chapter 91, The Birth of Silence. The eternal sky glowed above countless realms, but an eerie calm stretched beyond its borders. The disciples of tomorrow cultivated endlessly, breakthroughs happening with each breath. Yet an unshakable unease rippled through the sect. Inside the void beyond heaven, Yetian sat cross-legged upon the eternal throne. Stars pulsed from his veins, Dao rivers spilled from his breath. But suddenly, the system flared. System log. Warning, unknown presence detected. Designation, the silence. Note, not bound by Dao, heaven, or eternal sky. The void darkened. A soundless ripple spread across existence, erasing entire constellations in its path. It wasn't destruction, it was erasure. Worlds didn't explode, they simply ceased to ever have existed. Even Yetian's eyes narrowed. Something older than void itself. The disciples felt it too. Entire ancestral lineages suddenly vanished from their memories, as though erased from reality. Panic spread. The silence had awakened. Chapter 92, The Forgotten Ones. A meeting was called in the Tomorrow sect. Disciples and sovereigns gathered, but many seats lay empty. Not because people hadn't arrived, but because they no longer existed. "We had brothers, didn't we?" whispered a young disciple, trembling. "But I can't remember their faces." The elders' faces grew pale. They realized this wasn't simply annihilation, it was rewriting existence. In the eternal sky, cracks appeared where the silence brushed against its borders. No Dao, no system, no memory could resist it. Yetian rose from the throne. His robes swayed with galaxies, his voice calm. "This foe does not destroy, it uncreates. The silence does not fight, it devours meaning itself." System prompt. New mission, defend existence. Defeat the silence before all Dao is unmade. And for the first time, Yetian admitted, even he was unsure if victory was possible. Chapter 93, War Against Nothingness. The silence revealed its true face, or rather, its lack of one. It appeared as shifting gaps in reality, holes where no light, law, or thought could exist. It birthed echoes, creatures made of erased truths, attacking disciples like shadows that couldn't be touched. Sect battles raged across the eternal sky. Disciples found themselves fighting enemies that unmade their weapons on contact. Some screamed as their own names were erased from history, vanishing into nothing. Yetian arrived at the front. His fist shattered an echo, rewriting its nothingness into a burning star. But each strike cost him authority. The silence was feeding on the very concept of struggle. The ancestors of tomorrow, resurrected within eternal Dao, gathered beside him. Even those once his enemies bowed. "Sovereign beyond heaven," they said in unison. "If you fall, we fall with all reality." Yetian's aura surged, eternal sky glowing to shield what remained. But in the void, the silence expanded like a tide. The war of existence versus non-existence had begun. Chapter 94, The Last Memory. The silence struck deeper. Even Yetian's disciples began to forget his name. Without memory, loyalty faltered. Some wept, unable to recall the very master they had sworn to follow. Inside the eternal sky's heart, Yetian entered the Hall of Memories, a place where every disciple's cultivation journey was recorded. He found entire scrolls blank, entire legacies unwritten. For the first time, his eternal throne flickered. System warning. Your existence is being rewritten. Time left before sovereign beyond heaven is erased. 10 days. Yetian clenched his fists. His inner monologue burned like fire. "If I am forgotten, then let me carve my name into reality itself. Even silence will not take me." He began to forge a new Dao, not of strength, not of heaven, but of remembrance. Every disciple felt it, an unshakable mark etched into their souls. Even if worlds fell, they would never forget him again. The silence shrieked for the first time, for remembrance was the one thing it could not devour. Chapter 95, Sovereign of Remembrance. The final clash came. The silence descended as an infinite black veil, trying to erase all that was. Yetian stood, eternal throne burning brighter than ever. His disciples stood behind him, not in fear, but in unwavering faith. Even if erased, they would remember his name. "Silence," he said softly. "You devour meaning, but meaning is not given, it is chosen." His eternal Tao erupted. Stars ignited, time rivers restored, forgotten worlds rewritten. He unleashed the Dao of Remembrance, carving his name into the very concept of existence. The system screamed. System log. New title, Sovereign of Remembrance. Authority gained. Memory cannot be erased. The silence has been bound within eternal sky. The veil shattered. The silence recoiled, sealed into a prison of remembrance, unable to erase again. And thus the war ended. The disciples of tomorrow looked up at the eternal sky, brighter than ever. They bowed deeply, voices trembling with devotion. Eternal Sovereign, sovereign beyond heaven, sovereign of remembrance. Chapter 96, Whispers Beyond the Void. The silence was sealed, yet the void trembled unnaturally. From its cracks came whispers, not erasure this time, but voices that had never belonged to existence at all. Disciples reported nightmares, foreign gods calling their names, chains binding stars, oceans of eyes opening in the dark. Yetian stood within the eternal sky, sensing deeper. His eyes pierced not just void, but what lay beyond void itself. There he saw them. Entities older than heaven, older than Tao, older even than silence. Beings who had never been part of reality because they refused to enter it. They called themselves the Outsiders. System log. Warning, unknown entities detected. Designation, Outsiders. Note, they exist beyond laws, untouched by remembrance. Yetian whispered to himself. The silence was not the end, it was only the door. Chapter 97, The Outsiders Descend. The first outsider entered existence, a being made of endless chains, each link forged from discarded Tao. It was called Zerath, the Chain-bearer. With every step, entire sects were bound, their disciples unable to move or breathe. Whole realms were shackled in an instant. A second outsider followed. Enhyros, the Eater of Light, a mouth stretching across galaxies, swallowing suns like grains of rice. The eternal sky shook violently. Disciples screamed as outsiders devoured what Yetian had rebuilt. Yetian descended into the battlefield. His eternal throne burned, his fists glowing with remembrance Tao. He struck Zerath, shattering 10 million chains, but for every chain broken, another billion emerged. He unleashed eternal fire against Enhyros, burning stars back into existence. But the creature only laughed, swallowing the fire itself. For the first time since becoming sovereign beyond heaven, Yetian was pressed back. Chapter 98, Rebellion of Reality. The outsider's arrival caused chaos across realms. Some beings who had once suffered under heaven betrayed Yetian, believing the outsiders offered freedom from even his eternal sky. Cultivators defected, sects collapsed, beast clans submitted to the foreign gods. The eternal sky itself cracked, not from destruction, but rebellion. Existence questioned its own sovereign. Disciples of tomorrow held fast, but morale shook. In the Hall of Remembrance, sacred scrolls recorded betrayal after betrayal. Names of disciples Yetian had once saved now aligned with outsiders. Even ancestors of tomorrow fell to despair. "Master," cried Elder Minjiu, kneeling before Yetian, "your throne is shaking because existence itself doubts you." Yetian's eyes burned with cold fire. He whispered only one phrase. "Then let me remind existence why it chose me." Chapter 99, The Throne of Infinite Resolve. Yetian entered the absolute void once more, bringing his eternal throne with him. The outsiders surrounded him, chains rattling, mouths devouring, shadows whispering. Zerath laughed. "Your throne is nothing here. We were never bound by heaven, never touched by Tao, never shaped by silence. You cannot command us." But Yetian sat calmly upon the throne. "The throne was never given to me. It was forged from my resolve. Even nothingness cannot bind that." He slammed the eternal throne into the void itself. A shockwave erupted, millions of outsider chains shattered, galaxies reignited, traitor sects burned away. His disciples wept as their memories surged, faith rekindled. System log. New authority, throne of infinite resolve. Effect, your will cannot be denied by outsiders. For the first time, the outsiders faltered. They realized Yetian wasn't just rewriting laws, he was rewriting the right to exist itself. Chapter 100, Sovereign of All Realms. The outsiders launched their final assault. Enhyros swallowed entire void seas, Zareth coiled existence in chains thicker than worlds. Other outsiders emerged, giants of forgotten sound, rivers of reversed causality. The battle raged for eternity within a moment. Yetian rose from the throne, his aura encompassing every star, every disciple, every memory, every Dao. His voice thundered. You call yourselves outsiders, but there is no outside anymore, because I am the boundary. The eternal sky expanded infinitely, merging with void, swallowing the outsiders' dimension. They shrieked as their refuge vanished, dragged into reality where Yetian's authority was absolute. With one final decree, he spoke. I am sovereign of all realms. There is no existence beyond me. The outsiders shattered, consumed, and rewritten into new stars. System log. Final authority achieved. Title unlocked, sovereign of all realms. No entities remain outside your dominion. The eternal sky stabilized. Betrayers were erased, loyal disciples ascended. All existence knelt. From that day forward, no heaven, no silence, no outsider dared exist beyond Yetian. He was the sovereign of all realms, the eternal throne upon which reality itself rested.